Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. First of all, I cannot go on any further before I compliment you on the hat, the Mississippi State there. Absolutely sweet. And then the camo gear. Are we out hunting or what are we doing here?
Yeah, I actually got home about 15 minutes ago from the deer stand. So, yeah, out in the woods this morning.
So what's the temperature there in Mississippi?
It was only 40 this morning.
Okay.
But not too bad.
Yeah. So
cold enough for a hoodie.
Yeah. So is it your own land? You lease land or where do we go here?
We're in a lease about 20 minutes north of our house, close to my grandparents' house, actually. I almost just go get breakfast with them when I leave, but yeah, we're not too far out of here.
Okay, so big question. Big Mississippi State football game. I'd say 11 o'clock in the morning. They're playing a big SEC rival. And it's just now beginning a rifle season for deer season. Which one are we going with here?
I'm going hunting.
Every time. Fantastic. My kind of guy.
If it's like an Ole Miss game or Georgia, there's some games that'll swing me every once in a while, but it's kind of hard to get out of the woods when I get a chance to.
Hey, you mentioned the Ole Miss game. Take us through that Ole Miss game. We're going to jump around here a little bit. That's okay. Take us to that Ole Miss game that you got to pitch. I think it was in 2024 when you shoved. Man, that had to be fun.
It was great, actually. Yeah, because so we got there obviously the day or two before. We got to get on the field and practice, and I'm walking off the field, and our SID, our social media guy, walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, congrats on the start." And I kind of looked at him. I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What do you mean the start?" He's like, "Well, apparently you're starting." He's like, "I posted it on Instagram about an hour and a half ago." And I was like, "Well, this is the first I've heard of this." So I found out from our social media guy that I was actually starting the next day, the night before. So didn't have a lot of time to really mentally prepare, I guess, for a starter spot that day, which I was kind of a flexible guy in college. I did a lot of different things, but it was great. It's one of those games where it's like pure hatred, I guess.
Oh, no doubt.
In the nicest way possible to say that.
Yeah.
But the rivalry is real between us both. Obviously I have friends that go there and I keep up with some of those guys. But when you're on the field, it all goes away. It's strictly just business at that point. But yeah, obviously the greatest game I've ever played in my life from a statistics standpoint. And honestly, probably one of the greatest games I've ever been a part of just in general with how it unfolded throughout the 9 innings of that. But, yeah, it was one of those games where it was came off the mound, went straight to the dugout, put a towel over my head, and no one talked to me. And when 2 outs came, someone tapped me, and I got up and threw a couple plyo balls and went right back out. And it had to argue with my coach a little bit. I was like, "You sure you don't want to send me back for the 9th?" And he was like, "Yeah, we got to do something different." And it worked out. In the end, we won that game. But I wanted that 9th real bad.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to finish that whole thing if I had the opportunity to. But I remember sitting in the dugout after, and our next guys were warming up, and they put my stat line up on the board. And I kind of just looked up, and I was like, there's no way. What's up there is what I actually did. The 13 strikeouts, no walks. And obviously I heard some more stuff after about, the pitch counts and 12 balls and everything. And it's just one of those, kind of out of body moments of It's just 8 innings purely of just the pitch I have in my hand, and then the next one right after, and the next one right after, with no before or after thoughts at all. And they with Hughes hit that walk off home run, and I kind of just in the dugout just kind of put my hands up and we just won this game and walked out. And I don't know, it was kind of a surreal feeling in a way. It's you love to beat Ole Miss, and you love to win an SEC game, and you love to win a tournament game with your back against the wall. But when you compile them all together in the moment that it was, it was just, it's kind of hard to beat that feeling, I think.
Yeah. In the SEC, you got to hit the ground running. There's no doubt. There is no process to it. It's all about results. You have a little bit of fall. You go home for Christmas. You come back for January. And, it's a dead sprint to your first game in mid-February. So there's really no room to tinker. There's no room to say, hey, I'm going to add a slider or a changeup here. You got to go with what you got from the start. You don't really get a chance to adjust much of that. So I ask you that question. You're a guy who has a big mix to you, right? So you get in professional ball. Now you have all these starts. You got a 6-month season. So has it been a little bit of a fight for you to say, hey, I know I can do this well. I'm a professional glove hitter. I know I can get outs in this way, but yet I have time to still grow into some new things. Has that been a fight for you?
There's definitely been some growing pains for sure. Because when I got to college, and honestly my entire college career, it was fastball, slider, and then every once in a while I'd mix a changeup in. So I was predominantly fastball slider for the vast majority of college. And then, like I said, every once in a while change-ups would get mixed in. So then, like, right after the draft, when the Dodgers got me and they were like, hey, like, we're getting you as a true starter, not really a bullpen, long relief, spot guy. Like, you're going to be thrown in this legitimate starter role. We need to add some pitches. And that was definitely, I would say, it's fun for sure, like getting to play around and like talk to Rob and some of those guys and pick their brain about, okay, well, what about this group? And like, let's see how this spins. And it's been a fun process, but at the same time, it's been a little bit of a struggle of like, okay, well, my slider moved this way. We're going to add a curveball. Okay, well, the curveball doesn't have quite as much depth as we would want it to be. Let's try to change the shape of the slider just a touch. But then we're going to add a cutter into that as well. We need to make sure it's above a 10 vert. So, like, it's one of those, like, it's a puzzle piece game, but, like, you're not looking at it on the table. It's physical activity of trying to make the puzzle work. Yeah. But there's definitely been some growing pains that come along with it. But, like, I think I've progressively gotten better, and I hope that as this offseason goes that it progressively gets better. And going into the 26th season that I'll kind of have a better foundation of what was and what I'm going to have to come off of, I guess. But
yeah. I've been knowing you a long time in terms of the baseball world and following you at Mississippi State and all of that. And I know just extremely how competitive you are in terms of this is what I expect out of myself. This is what I expect in terms of results. So I just got to think that process of adding has been somewhat difficult for you because you've had to kind of not necessarily become less competitive towards it, but maybe more relaxed and a little bit more laid back. Would that be correct?
Yeah, because I want to say, like, I'm a perfectionist to an extent. Like, obviously, you got to accept failures, and you got to accept that nobody's going to be perfect in the game of baseball. But I would say, like, the Dodgers drafted me, my coaches got me at state, they got me at JUCO, and everyone has expectations, but I can almost guarantee you that mine are significantly higher than what anyone else would ever have for me. So, like, I go out there and I throw 63% strikes in the game, and, like, I come off kind of mad that, like, it wasn't 70. Or, like, okay, you had six strikeouts today. It's like, okay, but I wanted 12. Like, it's like I always try to strive for higher than what, like, is expected of me. So that's a little bit of an internal battle on the mound, and I think that's one of the reasons, like, I enjoyed the closer role so much because your back's against the wall from the jump. There's no time like, oh, if you walk this guy, it's like you can't walk the first guy. So it kind of puts you in a mentality of like you have to be perfect, and if you aren't, then the whole game's a failure in a sense. Like it all falls back on you. And it's been interesting trying to change the mentality of, okay, I have 1 to 3 batters or maybe 2-3 innings if like I really am throwing good or they need me to I'm walking into this game with the expectation of like I'm going 6. Like if I don't go 6, like this was a bad day for me, and like I have to figure it out in the next 5 days before that 6th one rolls around. So it's a lot different for sure, and it makes it harder for sure. And I guess in the sense of like the mentality that I've kind of grown up with of just aggression going at people, and now it's more of okay, well, the second time around, how am I going to throw to this guy? Do I need to set him up for the 3rd at bat? And there's a lot more moving pieces that go in, but at the same time, like it's so fun. It's a whole nother kind of baseball that I'm getting to learn in this process.
It's what addicts you to the game. It is the game that you cannot. It's that video game that you can't master. So that definitely is a lot of fun. So just that mentality, I'm sure that worked very well for you on the gridiron. I know you were your quarterback there back in Louisiana. And so talk about your quarterback days and how that mentality helped you and how just being a multi-sport athlete developed you into what you are today.
Football for me was like baseball is obviously a game of failure, but like if you're better at a younger age, like failure is not as often, I guess. There's kind of like the singular success of like if I'm on the mound and I'm throwing 90 at my 1A private high school, the success rate is going to be significantly higher than it is at the college level and everything. But when it comes to football, it's like it's you and 10 other guys, and like everyone else has to do their job to be successful, and you got to trust the 11 other guys on the opposite side of the ball. So it kind of taught you how to trust other people in a sense of like as a pitcher, like you got to trust your fielders, but at the same time, like you have to do your own job for them to even have the opportunity to. Whereas in football, it's I can do my job, but my right guard might not, and my running back gets smoked 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So the whole play just dies. So, but I loved football. Like I tell people all the time, like, hey, when baseball ends, I might have to break out the old helmet and go play in a men's league once just to do it, just to play one game to get back at it. But that's never going to actually happen. I'd probably tear something pretty quick. But yeah, football was fun. I only played basketball for 2 years. it kind of ran into baseball season, and obviously that's kind of where my priorities were at the time. And but yeah, football was great. I enjoyed it. I loved all the guys I played with. It's a different kind of brotherhood because it's a lot more suffering. It's the 7 a.m. workouts on a Tuesday morning during the summer when everyone just wants to be at the lake or sleeping in or whatever, and we're running 23 110-yard gassers and 14 seconds or whatever it was. Just like, this is brutal and this sucks, but at the same time it's like, but the guy next to me is also suffering and this guy's suffering, so it's like we can all just embrace the suck together. It's kind of just the mentality that I've always kind of had about it. It's like, as long as someone else gets to do it with me, it makes it a lot more enjoyable. But
okay, were we the pro-style drop-back quarterback at 6'4"? Were we an RPO guy or read option guy? I got to know all about the quarterback game here.
We ran the triple option.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding?
I know.
You were an option quarterback?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we threw the ball a little bit, but like I said, we were a little 1A private, so like we didn't have the guys who could just completely jump out the gym and like pull everything down. So like we had to get a little bit more creative with our play calls and our style of play. But I also was, I'm sure the football people might not agree with it, but I was the put my head down and run full speed kind of person.
Yeah.
I wasn't the keep my eyes up kind of guy. So that worked for me. I mean, I was going to get 3 yards every time I had the ball in my hands for the most part because I was going to fall forward. I'm going to stick my helmet wherever I have to get forward. And I guess that helped. I mean, we won some games and we made some runs in the playoff. Never got a ring.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, it was a fun game. I mean, if I could get back and play high school football again, I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I ended up in a pretty good spot, but the memories were fun for sure. So I love football. So
how many times did you run the quarterback duck play on third or fourth and short?
A lot, actually. So we loved and like third and whatever. Yeah. My running back, he actually ended up playing linebacker at LSU. And one of my really good friends, so we drop back into shotgun and he'd be on my right side or left side or whatever. And they say, you just catch it and get a first. Yep. And I'd be like, you just run forward and I'm on your butt and we're going to just stick our heads down and see how far we can get. And that was a pretty good play for us. He was 6 foot 240 in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I was 6'3", 6'4", 195 pounds. And if we were back-to-back running in that hole, it was kind of hard for a bunch of those kids to stop us.
Oh, yeah, so, no doubt.
But it worked.
Yeah, JT Realmuto, the catcher for the Phillies, he was a quarterback at Carl Albert. He's in our district here at Guthrie. We got to see exactly what you're talking about all the time, like on third and fourth and short. So, hey, I wanted to ask you, too, before we move on to more of your baseball stuff here. Was there ever a time where the coach called the play in? I don't know if you had play runners or if you did signals or whatever, but you got the play and you didn't, you forgot what it was. You just said, screw that, I'm running my own play. Did you ever do that?
I would like to say I'm pretty smart. I don't forget a lot, but there was one time that it was one of the games where we were running plays back and forth with receivers for some reason. We changed it a lot, but this one, for some reason, my buddy comes in. He's like, hey, whatever the play was. And I was like, okay, I called it. And we spread out. And he calls us like a slant route, pass play, something. And I pump fake, and I squeeze it between the corner and the outside linebacker for a touchdown. We score, and everyone's clapping. We run off the field. My coach runs up. He's like, who called that play? And I was like, that was JT. I just thought he ran it in from you. But, it worked out. We got the touchdown. We got some 2-point conversion and everything. But it was just he couldn't be mad at me, I guess. I mean, it worked. So at the end of the day, but I never really forgot plays. I was pretty good with my plays. Yeah.
Since it worked, you gave credit to your teammate. If it had failed, you would have taken it on the shoulder yourself, right?
Of course. That's exactly how it works.
Okay,
let's leader, quarterback.
Let's dive back into your baseball career. The bridge between high school and Mississippi State was Hines. Talk about your times at Hines Community College.
Yeah, obviously everyone wants to go D1 out of high school. That's everyone's dream and their goal, and obviously it was mine too. But like I said, 1A private school in North Louisiana, so the competition level wasn't quite, enough that a lot of the big schools really wanted to do a ton of recruiting on me. COVID was my senior year, so I didn't get my senior season. So that kind of messed up a lot of my recruiting. Obviously, I played some summer ball and got some recruiting from that side of things, but ended up only having a couple preferred walk-on spots like Division I's. And Sam Temple calls me from Hines and asked to meet with me and do some BP and some pitching and stuff, and offered me on the spot after we did it. And probably the best decision I ever made. I give him a lot of credit for where I've come to in my baseball career because he taught me a lot about the game. Because like I said, in high school, I was the better kid on the team, so like I kind of just got to do my own thing, had success, and then when I got to him, he kind of had to not actually hit me with the belt, but kind of beat me with the belt a little bit and kind of get me in line, teach me how to listen to a little bit better. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was almost a hotel experience. You kind of live with your teammates on the same floor in a dorm. My door, for some reason, if you kicked it hard enough, would just swing right open. So a lot of guys I was the first door off the elevator to the right. So people would come by my room and just kick it. And if it popped open, they came in and hung out with us. So it was a really good experience from the terms of like pitching at a higher level, being away from home for the first time, kind of finding my identity in that sense of things. And we made a run in the playoffs, obviously didn't make it all the way, but got to see a different side of baseball than just like your typical fall football into spring baseball in high school. But had a good year there, and then got a couple calls. Mississippi State was one of them, obviously, and it was kind of like, how do you not take the opportunity to go play in the SEC?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a good year bridge for me. I enjoyed my time at Hines, and I tell people all the time, like, JUCO, if it's the only option you have, take it, because so many kids can get opportunities out of junior college that you never really would have expected to have beforehand. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And then you have all this momentum, and then Tommy John hits. So take us through that.
Yeah. So I walked into state my sophomore year, had a really good fall, got into the season, and obviously like Landon Sims was on the team that year. He popped his UCL. Stone Simmons had one. So like we had some injuries, we had some guys that got banged up. So I kind of just got thrusted into this like closer role of like close game, 7, 8, 9 inning, like Auger, you're in the game kind of moment. And I was kind of getting to the point where I was kind of thriving in that. I'd kind of found my identity of like the closer mentality, like come in angry and throw with aggression. And it was Auburn at home. And I remember it was like fastball away to somebody. And I was just like, that didn't really feel good. I don't know, like it didn't pop. There was no popping feeling, but it was just like the side of my forearm down into my pinkies. Like it's like I pulled a hamstring, but like obviously in a different position, just like a pulling feeling. And I threw another pitch, and I was like, that one hurt a little bit worse than the first one did. And I was like, well, I only got 2 outs left to get. Let's see if we can get out of this inning. The next kid grounds out, and so I guess someone noticed that I was kind of flexing my hand on the mound, and they came and got me. And at first, we didn't think it was Tommy John. They just thought I'd like pulled my flexor or something, and obviously go get an MRI. And it's me and another guy went together, and he ended up not having TJ. He ended up having something different, but they had both of our MRIs up on the TV at the same time. And he walks over to the other guys. He's like, okay, you see how this is your UCL right here? He goes, this is what a UCL is supposed to look like. It looks you can see the lines and everything. He was like, and this one right here is torn.
That's yours.
It's like, well, I guess that's my UCL. That's how we figured out that mine's torn. But yeah, it was 18 months of just, I wouldn't say brutal, I guess, kind of like you realize how much you love the game when you can't play it, when you're at the field every day and you're watching the guys that your brother's with get to play and have fun, and you're kind of just sitting there from the outside like, I'll get the bucket today, or I'll shoot fungo balls out of the machine, or whatever it is that you might need me to do. And
Groundhog's Day when you're hurt, isn't it?
It is. I say, because we were on the fence about bringing me back for what would have been my, I guess, legitimate junior season. And last minute, like the day when they were turning in the rosters, Lamonis told me that he was going to leave me off. He'd rather me be fully healthy the next year. So I sat out that entire season, threw bullpens every week, obviously, and everything. Was a part of everything. But like beginning of the season, didn't travel on the road, so like I got left behind a lot.
Oh, that's
so
those are the road trips are the best, man.
I know. Luckily, later in the year, I started getting to come along because like they wanted to have some, I guess, morale guys. I guess like I did a lot of the charts already, anyways. So I had a big piece at home, so they're like, well, just bring him. Like, why not? So I got to be a part at the end of the season. It made it a little bit easier, but it teaches you a lot for sure. Let's say you get stuck at 89 miles an hour. It's like, man, like, why can I not break 90? It's like, am I ever going to get back? The pains and the pops and everything that comes with it, along with the mental side of like just not playing and being left behind at times. And I want to throw 95 again, but I'm stuck right here for a while. But yeah, it was not a fun experience. Obviously, I would recommend nobody have TJ if they had the opportunity to not do it. But bad thing is you don't get that choice. But yeah, I mean, 18 months of recovery and watching everyone else play. And the day they were like, "Hey, you get to play again," I was walking on the clouds, man. I was having a great day that day. But
absolutely. Then I believe you had 20 appearances in 2024. Is that correct? Yeah. And highlighted by beating St. John's in the Charlottesville Regional. That had to be cool.
That was fun. Actually, I had strep. I found out the morning we got on the plane to go up that I woke up and my throat was hurting. I was like, I do not want to go to the doctor. I was like, but I feel terrible. So I found out an hour before we got on the bus that I was positive for strep. So on the bus ride to the airport, I had to sit in the bathroom of the charter bus with a mask, and then everyone had to get off the bus first, and then I got on the plane, and I sat in the very, very back, 25 rows away from the next closest guy with the mask the whole time. Got off the plane. They got me a separate driver, took me to a different hotel, and I was stuck in a hotel for 2 days. I did not leave the hotel. Yeah, everyone else was doing their stuff, practicing, going to the field. And the first day I got to come out was the Friday night game, the day before I threw. And I mean, I walked out there and they're like, "You need to try to throw." And it was trying to throw to 60 feet was hard. I was just like, my body is beat down. Yeah. And the next day he was like, "Hey, you're starting." And I was like, "Let's do it. Give me an energy drink." Like,
and your team had just lost. You're like, "Hell yeah, give me the ball. Let's go."
Yeah. It was one of those, like, you just embrace the suck. You just got to suck it up and do it. And obviously it was not my best game ever. Like, I was feeling it the whole time, but at the same time it was like, I wanted to win. The team wanted to win. Put the ball in my hand for a reason. Like, I got to do what I can do to try to get us in the next game. I just don't let us lose this one. And we ended up winning it. The guy that came in behind me, Cam Schulke, had a great 4 2/3 or whatever it was that he had. But yeah, it was a great experience. That was my first regional, like at that level, obviously. So that was a great experience to go up to Virginia and do that. But it was fun. I'll say wasn't the easiest again. Definitely made it hard. But at the end of the day, like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world.
6th round, 2024 at the end of that season. So were you did you know kind of what was going to happen, or what was draft day like for you? Take us through that.
I expected to get drafted. I just was not expecting the 6th round, honestly. I kind of thought maybe, like, if I got up into the 8th round, like, that'd be pretty good. I was kind of thinking more like 10 to 12, hopefully somewhere in 10 to 15s. And Jack Crescent is the one who called me. He's a South Louisiana guy. I played with one of his high school teams early in high school, and he's the one who called me. And leading up to that point of that phone call, I was sick. Not like legitimately sick, but just physically, just like the stress of like, okay, when's my name going to get called? Because day one was fine. Like, I got to watch some of my friends get drafted, celebrate with them on the phone. And then day 2 hit, and I was like, okay, like, hopefully it's my turn. And just with every pick that rolls by, it's like, okay, is this going to be me? Like, when's my phone going to ring? But when Jack called me, he was like, "Hey man, congrats." And I was like, "For what?" And he's like, "We distracted you." And I was like,
"You say Jack, that's your agent, so talk about him."
This is Jack Crescent. He's the
Dodger scout. Okay, yes.
Yeah. He's the one who called me from the Dodgers and like told me that they got me.
What was his name again?
Jack Crescent.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. But he's the one who called me, and like I said, my TV was delayed. It was still like a pick or so ahead. So he was like, "Congrats." And I'm like, "For what?" He's like, we just drafted you. I'm like, "Well, my TV's not saying it yet." So then I'm on the phone with him, and like they announced the next pick. And it was just this sigh of relief. Like, just like the weight of the world was off my shoulders. It was like, I finally accomplished this thing that I've dreamed so long of being a part of. And especially earlier than I was expecting, and by a family friend of mine, and by a team that obviously has had historically a ton of success. Like, it was just like a bunch of just like minor wins all at once, and just kind of, it was a great feeling. And it was so much better than the 5 hours previously where it was just the nerves of everything surrounding it. But I was pumped when I got that call.
Absolutely.
Put my hand in the air. It was great.
Yeah, victory had been yours, and it has been yours since then. Okay, so a big mix. You talked about how you're a 2-3 pitch mix in high school, and then in college you started adding a little bit, but really in the pros is when you started adding when you knew you were going to be a starter. So 4-seam, cutter, change, slider, curveball. Would that be accurate? Take us through your mix.
Yeah, so I would say four-seam cutter, slider, curveball, changeup.
Okay.
We've messed around a little bit with the two-seam. I've messed around a little bit the past couple of weeks with a splitter because obviously it worked a lot in the World Series. So I was like, why not see if maybe I can figure one out? But for sure, 5 pitches right now, 6 a little bit. But so going from 2.5 is what I like to call it in college to a full 5, 5.5, 6. It's like a learning curve, but it's fun. I mean, it makes you think a lot more about how the game works on a pitch-to-pitch basis rather than like in college, they called all my pitches. Like we had to pitch calm. He called fastball, and if I didn't want it, I shook, and we knew I was throwing slider. So like it was pretty simple of like you got 2 pitches to choose from, throw it as hard as you can kind of feeling versus now like, okay, we called a slider. Slider's not the call. Okay, I got to shake through 4 other pitches to get to the one I want. But it's been good. I mean, big mix for sure compared to what it was at one point.
Yeah. So you're known as a professional glove hitter. So how do you take all those pitches and continue to be that professional glove hitter you've always been?
A lot of focus. A lot of times beforehand, it was like kind of just mindlessly pitching. Like I say mindlessly, but not really. But like I said, 2 pitches, like, one or the other. And now it's, okay, grips and locations and lefty, righty, up, down. What did he do last time or the third time through the lineup? Okay, what has he seen? And it makes it harder for sure. Sometimes you get too in your head about what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lacking on the throwing side of things. So then you miss your spots. But like you said, like historically, I've been a pretty good strike thrower. I've been pretty good at keeping my ball in the areas I want to. And overall, for the most part this year, I did. And I was pretty happy with that. But again, I'd like to build on that. I would love to hit my catcher's mitt every time he puts it down. And obviously that's not going to happen every time, but I might as well strive for it if I can.
Okay, man, that's all the business I got for you. I do have a couple of fun questions, though. Are you good with that?
Got them.
Okay, I got to know what is the funnest thing you've done? Shoot a buck, okay, throw a touchdown pass, get a big strikeout. You probably hit a home run in your career in high school as well, or getting drafted. Which one creates the most adrenaline and is the funnest?
I think the drafted, honestly.
Oh, really?
I say there's a good feeling about shooting a buck or a duck, and I hit a walk-off home run in high school against a rival team like that. Those are all really good feelings. Like I said, I worked at that point I was 22 when I got drafted. 22 years of my life, it was, what do you want to be when you grow up? A baseball player. So 22 years of my life building for that moment was not just for me, but my family too, was a great feeling and just so much relief and I guess like satisfaction, I guess. Yeah. So I think that was probably my biggest moment for sure.
Yeah, biggest rock on a buck that you shot.
I've only killed an 8-point. So
oh, really?
8-point.
Oh, we got to do better than that, man. We got to do better than that.
We got whitetails down here. We don't get those big Oklahoma deer like you got up there. They eat something different, I guess. But
okay, take us through your pregame routine and maybe the quirkiest thing that you do as you're getting ready to pitch each day.
I would say mine's pretty simple for the most part. I show up to the field, do my pregame snack and our meal. I have a prep routine. I do all my stretches and everything. I go back in, jersey up, get my card, everything I need for the game itself. Go out, do my bands and my plyos. I'm not a huge long tosser like people that throw like 330 feet, like Roki and all those guys who are pole to pole. I think my arm would probably fall off if I actually ever did that.
It hurts.
But, I mean, I get the center field wall. Center field wall is pretty good for me. Do my pull downs on the way in, some flat ground work. Get on the mound, get my feel for all my pitches, throw them all 2 or 3 times, kind of figure out how they're moving that day. And then like the last 10 to 15 pitches for my like warm-up routine itself is, okay, who's my first 2 batters? Lefty, righty. And I'm not exactly like scripted, I guess, but to an extent, I'm throwing these next 15 pitches full intent with the intent of I'm throwing it to the first 2 batters I'm going to play. So I have a pretty good feeling of if I missed arm side with my fastball, what would I come back with? If he were to swing or if they change up in the dirt. So I try to make it as realistic as possible for those last 15. Hit the dugout. I'm going to drink some water, a little water. And then they send me out the dugout and it's just full go from there. I write the dirt on the back of the mound, my cross I write in there. But for the most part, I have a pretty simple routine. I don't do too much.
We've talked about some of your sports moments in the past. You talked about your walk-off in high school as far as hitting a home run. We've talked about your St. John's and then the Egg Bowl game that you threw in the SEC championship game, which was awesome. The touchdown you threw on the gridiron in football. So what is your best moment that you can remember in a sporting event, and what is your worst one, both of those?
Best moment for sure on the field itself is going to be that Ole Miss game. I say that's the highlight of my on field at the current moment. I say, hopefully I win a World Series one day and we can bump that down. But up until that point, that Ole Miss game is going to top the charts for a while. Lowest point, there's been a couple. I say, as a closer, at times you get hit around, you lose some games. But I remember the first real upsetting game coming back off TJ was Air Force at home.
Oh yeah, first game of the year, wasn't it?
I think it might have been. Yeah, Friday night. My whole family had come up. They knew I was going to throw for the first time in a year and a half. And they sent me out there to close the game out. They gave me the closer spot right back after TJ. Didn't have a great inning, gave up a couple runs, and we went down a run. We ended up losing that game. And it was one of those moments of man, I just spent 18 months kind of suffering through this process, watching everyone else play, not getting to be a part. And I finally get my opportunity to come back and do it on the biggest stage again in front of my family, first game back of the season, and I blew it. And that was a pretty crushing feeling. I mean, there's obviously been some other times up there like that, but that one was probably the one that sticks with me the most when people think about what was the worst, because it was such a long period of time leading up to it of just it was on the verge of tears, honestly. I'm just that hurt really bad to do that after all this time. But there's wins and losses, though. So I take the wins with as much grain of salt as I can.
Yeah, and you do an incredible job of balancing letting the losses motivate you to celebrate the wins, and you also do a great job of celebrating the wins. That's very important, too. Okay, so the last question here, a very important question here. What is one thing that all of your either current, former teammates or current, former coaches would all say about Brooks Auger?
I'd like to say probably consistency. I would like to think that I'm a guy that shows up every day with the same attitude. I'm not one of these guys that kind of goes up and down for the most part. Even if I've been having a bad day, I try to at least put on a front that it doesn't look like it. And I try not to be too high to where it's makes it uneven. Okay, what's going on today? I'm going to show up, I'm going to do my work. I'm flexible. I did it in college of, hey, you're closing, you're starting your long relief this time. You're throwing on a day's rest. You might not throw for a week. And it's just I don't complain. Obviously there's always going to be the joking of oh, you sure you want me to do that today? But at the end of the day, it's if you ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. So consistency and accountability, I think, would probably be something I would hope they would say about me. I'm sure some people got some other things they might say, but being the same guy every day is hopefully what will be the top of the chart there for sure.
Let me add one more C, and let me add competitive, because you are one of the most competitive pitchers I have ever seen pitch. So, Brooks, I've taken a lot of your time. This has been such a wonderful honor. And tell Lane hello, Lane Forsythe, who came to Oklahoma State. One of my boys here, man, he was absolutely awesome. We needed a shortstop. He came over and did a tremendous job, splashed onto the scene with a walk-off bunt base hit against Mississippi State, believe that or not. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, man. So tell him I said hello.
Oh, well, great guy.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate you, brother.
Not a problem. Anytime.